West, y'all.
Yeah, try to make it as professional as I can, eh? Like, got the lights and the... I don't know, I could probably improve it, eh? Like, I don't know. I try and look on the internet, see what other
ones have. No, this is mean, bro.
But the other ones are like flash as, eh? When I see them. Like, they have the lights at the behind and the different backgrounds, like...
So they have the grass there.
True, eh? I just need a couple of posts to put up there.
Yeah, bro. Have some field markings, eh? Here we go.
Right, brother. Thanks for coming on the podcast, mate.
Thank you for having me, bro.
No worries, no worries. Because, it was Liddy that told me I should get you on. You had a good story to tell, and that, I believe that because when I looked on your website with your BALLSY label, it's been around for a while, eh?
I think it's just over 2 years, maybe. 2 years, but it's been good, bro. It keeps me grounded and gives me the opportunity to share through different means, like you can. There's a lot of people that do stuff like this, podcasts or go around and talking at schools and all that, but I just use the apparel that we make as like an icebreaker. That's kind of the way I story tell is I don't really like getting up in front of people. I'm quite shy. And then, just through apparel, I just thought, why not try something new, try something different, but can still positively impact our community, especially our kids. So just something different.
2 years, that's a long time. Who was around that time? Because I remember someone similar to you, Adi Severe, with his clothing label. Because his stuff is all about mental health and that, like with the slogans he has on his gears and that. But that's probably, I know, before COVID, I started seeing that stuff. But then you were doing it as well that time. Huh?
I kind of, like fashion is something I've always been, like I've always had a passion for it. Like I remember at high school, always used to change our uniforms up and try and make it swaggy. And so I guess it kind of would always get in trouble, but it kind of started from there. And then obviously when I went through the BALLSY stuff and my mental health journey, I was like, how can we be different? What's our point of difference? And mine was obviously storytelling, but through apparel. So it had always been there. But just like anything, bro, like you probably got it when you started your podcast. It's always scary taking that first step, like worrying about who's gonna wear it, who's gonna want to buy this, or what would other people think. Yeah. I think after I took that first jump, I was like, who cares now, man? We're here, let's play, let's see what happens. And it's been 2 years since we've been live, but obviously it's been a lot longer behind the scenes in terms of just trying to figure out what we can do. And
when you just said that, like when you said, we have those barriers, and I think being sort of under that, these barriers are already built into us, how we were brought up, and I think
100%.
And then it's like you said, like me starting the podcast, or me and my other friend starting the podcast, it was like the anxiety of getting out there. It took a long time to get over that. And even if we did get over it and get out there, we still held back from a lot of things. And that's exactly right what you said. Like, with you starting your business, your clothing label, what are people gonna think? Is it gonna be, is this cool? Is it not cool? Is it gonna take off? Or, but it's like you gotta dive in without thinking about that. But we're not. Sort of, that's not the first.
That's not how we.
First instinct, it's like we've got to get over a mental barrier before that happens. But it's not there. It's a thing that we worry about that's not there in the first place.
I think, bro. Even if we go back and talk about our upbringing, especially in the Samoan households or Pacifica households, or I can only speak through a Samoan lenses, when you're spoken to, don't respond, like when don't make eye contact, like, you know, so that's already a mask that we hit up front, like, you know, especially when we're going, like, say for instance, like when my kids, when they go to school, the teachers are like, look at me when I'm talking to you, but you see all the Pacifica kids or Samoan kids especially, like, they're like looking at the ground, but the teacher thinks that it's being disrespectful. Like, we're not, that's not disrespectful, that's just how we were raised. Like, if I'm looking at you, I'm going to have to block the you know, block the smack or block the jandal that's coming. And I think, like you said, growing up, like with that kind of mentality, that kind of puts us on the back foot already, because we're scared to put our hand up, you know, like, oh, I've got a question. But don't ask a question, also you're going to get sussed in the mouth, you know. And I think that's, through my experiences now with my kids, I'm always like, man, I still want them to have our Pacifica and Samoan values and stuff, but I've also got to understand that the world's evolving, things are changing, and for us to give them the best opportunities, we've got to encourage them to ask for help. Put your hand up, ask for help. If you don't understand things, ask. Like, whereas we didn't have that. We couldn't ask. You know, we couldn't. Anything you would ask for, you ask, you get hiding. Like, yeah. So, yeah, it's a tricky one, eh? Like,
it's funny because if we went to school in Samoa, it would just be normal. You know, we'll probably, I don't know if we'll probably thrive more because it's normal to the kids there, it's normal to the teachers there. Everyone knows exactly what to do.
This is the understanding element.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
But us coming here, growing up here, and the teachers back in nowadays, you know, not Pacific Islander, like they don't understand, no. And what they perceive as us being respectful, they perceive as us being scared, or shy, but they just don't understand.
Right, that's 100% true. And yeah, I can still like envision things like, you know, we're talking about it, like thinking about experiences at school, like, oh, man, teachers, like if they're not from a Pacifica background, they don't understand it, and then we just come across as disrespectful, and then you look at your reports and like, this guy's just like not looking or not listening in class or blah blah blah. I'm like, yeah, we are, but it's just different. You know, I want to make eye contact with you, but I can't. Like, it's just little things like that, or just I don't. Yeah, it's a hard one.
And if you look at the other side of it, like I remember having a Palangi mate when I was growing up and going to his house and doing all that stuff and seeing how he acts to his parents, like answering back and all that. I was like, what the hell? Like in my mind, like, man, what? I couldn't understand that. You know?
There's heaps of memes about that stuff. You always have that Palangi mate when you go to the house, like, oh, he's got a nice toilet. He's got a nice bathroom. Like, oh, what's this? And the way, especially the way they speak to their parents, it's.
Us growing up, we didn't even understand, right? Because we can see what's happening, but we just can't.
Yeah.
We just can't get it in our minds, like what's going on. We just think it's different, and I think that's the thing with different cultures. And if you put racism in it, like it's racism is there because they don't want to understand. People don't want to understand and think that it's better for me to just stay away and
because it's different.
Yeah, it's different. I don't understand it, so I don't want to go there.
Yeah,
and so it's easy for people to talk about behind their backs and what they think. You know, so
no, that's true. That's 100% true, and that's just like we're talking about it. It has that racism element, but that's just life in general. Like, you know, if we don't understand something about someone, like, they're different farmen, like, you know. So, if you look at it from a human perspective, like, if we want to grow our communities like we say we want to on social media and that, like, we have to understand how Samoans operate, Tongans, Fijians, like Māoris, even like Indians or like wherever you come from. Like, in order for us to grow, we have to understand and acknowledge not everyone's the same. And then, that's a hard one. It's not hard, but just the ignorance behind people not wanting to understand.
Yeah. And we're guilty of it too. Sometimes, you know, everyone. I think everyone is guilty of it. You know, I'm reading this book right now called it's decolonization. And what does that mean? It's pretty interesting, eh? Because it's like to take back everything that we've taught and do it so everyone has a fair share of how to live and all that. Like it's like the Western world versus what's good in indigenous cultures.
Yeah. Holy, who wrote that book?
It's a bunch of people in Wellington. I think they're from university down there. Yeah.
What are they Pacifica or?
No, there's one Balangi and all the rest are Māori.
Oh, yo.
Yeah, or half caste. And they talk about. It's a pretty interesting book. Makes you think, or made me think about it, like because it's not just because decolonization is a deep thing. Because it's like everything that's got to do with colonization, like reverse it.
Yeah.
But you reverse it in a way where Balangis can live with it too.
Yeah.
All of us can live.
Yeah. Not
like
just,
moving forward. Like so, everyone understands each other and what does that look like? It might end up to be something different. Like New Zealand or Aotearoa might be a different culture because one culture that we all can strive in and have a system where we all can benefit from it. It also talks about how the Balangis have no identity, and they see it when they go overseas do their OE, because when the Balangis go overseas, they go to the UK, they're at the New Zealand bars doing the haka, but that's their only identity they have, back to New Zealand.
There's the haka and
the haka
All Blacks,
and all Blacks, and all that, stuff like that. So, but it's like they only feel it when they're out of New Zealand because they need something to
connect to like a connection thing.
Yeah, but whereas us, we're always from the islands.
Yeah,
we connect with New Zealand because we brought up here, but we always go back to the islands.
Yeah,
family and stuff like that. Like, and that's why you have the Toa Samoa, the heritage teams, and the Tonga and the MNT and all that. Sorry, man. I don't know how many flags I saw. I'll just keep on seeing more and more flags every day, man.
That's what I was saying. Hey, when we drove here, and there was like heaps of cars with flags. I was like, yo, such like, bro, it makes me so proud to be, Samoan, and it's like a double-edged sword sometimes. Like we're our own worst enemies. Like if you look back to, sorry, we could be going off topic now, but if you look back to the '66 pumping that we got at the start, it's probably the same Samoans that are like, this team's kaya, bro. What the sack the coach, like all that, get rid of these players, and then now look at them, like we're in the finals, man. The first second tier nation to make the finals in 34 years. History or whatever it is. Yeah.
I think they made history, but they also made the record books with the fastest turnaround.
From
the
first...
The 66.
Yeah. And then
66.
66.
66. 4 weeks later, 3 weeks later, they beat England. That's the fastest turnaround. And big in a big margin.
Yeah.
It's almost like it's a completely different team.
What's your thoughts on because I've been thinking a lot about it lately too, and it's like we just spoke about racism before, and we got pumped. Samoa got pumped 60-6 first game. We come back, and the tides changed. We won. What was it 27-26 or something like that? Like I've seen like posts about the colonizers being colonized, like like it just made me think, like, man, like, bro, there's a lot of hurt still there. You know what I mean? Like, I still get like, I still get quite emotional talking about things like that, and like I read a lot of posts about it, about going back to colonization and how much it means to, like, I'm not saying that it's just a game for England. It's England. But for us, like, bro, look what it done. It united a nation, not only Samoans and Samoa, but Samoans in New Zealand, Australia, the US, well, globally. Like it's. I just feel like it's more than a game to us. Like we don't have the resources that other countries have. We don't have the money like those big nations have. Yet we provide over 50% 60% of the talent that plays not only in the NRL but over in the Super League as well. It's probably less up there actually, to be fair, but you know, the majority of our players are of Pacifica heritage. So yeah, I don't know. It's like I still sense there's a lot of hurt there, but like we were talking about before, it needs to be acknowledged or it needs to be addressed and understood that, well, that guy's not racist. Like, that guy's just racist. He's talking about, but that's not, like, it's a lot deeper than that. There's a lot of pride and hurt that people are still feeling because of what happened through colonization and that. And this is just man, we're getting one up. We're able to compete now. Like, sports to me has always been, like, it's I wouldn't say it saved me, but it's kept me on the right path, and it's given me opportunities to travel the world and be proud of where I come from, my family. But like I just feel like it's given our country, or Samoans, whether they're New Zealand-born Samoan or Samoan, born in Samoa, wherever, the opportunity to be proud of who we are and just fly that flag high and be like, yeah, we're on top. We're on top for once, because we've always, like, you know, I felt like we've always been on the back foot, regardless of wherever we are. We're always, whether it's the colour of our skin, the tattoos, or how we look, we're always on the back foot.
It's deep, eh? It's deep, and I think I know what you mean, because I haven't seen anything like this before. Like, I saw MMT when they first started, and saw their support. And I was thinking, oh, Tongan's always like that. Are they better than us supporting? You know, when they were first doing it.
I was exactly the same, bro. I was like, why are we passionate like these guys?
Why are we like this to Manu Samoa? You know, why were we like this when we beat Australia? At that time we beat Australia. But yeah, I had the same thoughts. And then to see how people rise up to the occasion for Samoa this time around, there it is. There it is. But thinking about what you're talking about, how deep it is, what this campaign has done for the people of Samoa, and especially people from overseas, like Samoan but born in Australia, USA, or New Zealand. That sense of pride, you know, and a lot of these guys in the team, you know, didn't grow up in Samoa either.
Yeah.
So it's like, and for them to beat England, that's like a symbol of colonization back in the day, you know, and just to overcome all those odds, sports wise, to beat all those soft penalties we got, you know, to beat all the things going against us. Yeah, you know, like the 60-6 loss we had just put us way down, and just overcome that, you know.
100%.
I mean, yeah, it's powerful. It's powerful, and I think, as much as I think that we should have had this kind of energy from long time, even when we were losing, I think it's good that maybe it's time to just think about what we can actually do now. Because when I think about what Toa Samoa has done versus what Manu Samoa has done, there's a big difference, and because it's caught up real fast. Like, for a short period of time, we've managed to make it to a World Cup final, in a rugby game. It might not be rugby union, but it is a rugby game or a rugby league game, you know. And Manu Samoa hasn't done that, and we've had our issues there too with the rules, with the World Rugby rules all these years, the
eligibility and stuff.
Rules.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all about money over there, you know. Whereas rugby league, it's a smaller sport. They're trying to grow. If this is the way to grow, to have different eligibility rules to rugby union, it's working. Yeah. You know, I don't know about the origin rules, because that's like something that needs to be different too. But yeah, it's.
Look at the growth. Look at the growth in the game. So there's no real. They're quite flexible in rugby league international in terms of eligibility. But look at the growth. Like, look at the people that get behind it. And then look at the eligibility rules and union. Like, everyone says, let's grow the game. Let's grow the game. You want to grow the game, or you want to grow your pockets? And I'm just assuming that the board, the rugby board, World Rugby Board, show me a Pacifica person that's on there. There could be one on there, but I've never heard of them. You know, and that could be. That's where we need more representation, because we need people pushing for. If I look at the All Blacks, like how many Māori Pacifica or like Pacifica players do they have there that could potentially play for Samoa, Tonga, Fiji, if not being first selected for. So, I don't know.
See, that's another powerful thing too. Because if you think about these boys that turned down Australia, or even the Kiwis to play for Samoa, you know, those pair of Panther guys, you know, jumping over and making up this team, because even that is powerful.
100%.
I mean, and you got to give it up to MMT for starting it for Taumalolo to say no Kiwis are going to play for Tonga, for Andrew Fafita to do the same thing. You know, not going to play for Kangaroos, going to play for Tonga. You know, that's just inspired
100%,
everybody.
yeah.
You know, and it's just made, because man, this World Cup, Rugby League World Cup, it's been awesome, man.
Oh, yeah, it's been mean to us.
It's been mean.
Yeah.
It's been mean, and for the rules to spread all that talent between all the even Lebanon. I don't know if Lebanon has a rugby league team in their own country. You know,
All the NRL players, Lebanese heritage, yeah. Mitchell Moses.
even that's cool. You
Yeah.
know? Yeah. PNG, even Fiji's pretty strong. You know.
Bro, we watched was it Greece? And it had this the Samoan or Tongan guy playing for them.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was like I can't remember what the last. It was a Pacifica last name.
Oh.
And he looked like a half caste. I was like, so that's me. Like, bro, like we're getting represented. You know, all these half castes that are coming out. Like, you know, if they can't play for New Zealand, Samoa, Australia, whatever, then you just see them popping up. Like, I think it was Greece. Was it Greece? It was one of. I think it was Greece. I'll find out, and I'll let you know. But it was Buzzy. Just look, there's another. You know, there's another islander. I just said he was Samoan, but I don't know if he's Samoan or not.
Yeah, I think they've got it right. Because I think for any World Cup, you need to see the best players play in that competition, whatever it is. You see it in FIFA. You know, all the best soccer players are playing in FIFA. You don't see it in rugby union, the World Cup, because if you're contracted or you can't play for...
Especially for the Pacifica nations, their clubs have a stronghold over them, whether they can play or not.
Yeah. Because we were robbed of seeing Charles Pietza
100%,
play international, you know?
Well, he got the opportunity to play recently, but you know, there was a few years ago when he was at his peak. I'm not saying that he's not at his peak now, but that would have been mean to see him. Like, I just feel like their eligibility rule needs to change, and they're too scared to change it because of the outcome that will happen. It'll be like this Rugby League World Cup. Your second tier nations like Samoa, Tonga, like, you know, Fiji and rugby, they're already up there. You know, they're quite they always make at least the quarterfinal stage. Out of all the Pacific nations, I think they're the stronger ones. But in league, everyone's playing. Yeah. Everyone's playing. It's not just your 3 or 4 countries that in rugby, like England, New Zealand, Samoa. I mean, not Samoa. South Africa. Who's on England? Like Argentina. Like, you know, there's always that 4 or 5 that are always around. It's league, right? This one's been. So they was in the finals. Who would have thought that? And
Man, I set the alarm to go watch the game. I mean, the missus went down and watched, and man, I edge of my seat, man. I edge of all through the game, man.
We had my nephew sleeping. He stayed over, and my mate over here was asleep. I kept waking him up. Every time we score, bro, like, did the real silent. Then when it got to the end, like, you know, the last few minutes, how all we needed to do was hold the ball, and we would have won. Yeah. They did the turnover, and then England went the whole length of the field. I was like, Sully. and Noah was like, Dad, you gotta be quiet. You know, my nephew's asleep. He's like, I don't care. And then I was like you, was on the edge of my seat. especially in that overtime, you know, how we got the first charge down. I was like, so let's only tackle 3, like set up another phase and get closer, like, you know.
And
then,
man, after that charge, oh no, that's it. We're gonna lose. And then Tompkins to the forward pass.
Tompkins,
we had the ball
again. My little Tompkins, thank you very much, dude. And then, because I honestly thought they were gonna go back to Milford again.
Oh yeah.
And I didn't see, because on the screen you couldn't really see who was out on the right. And then long ball the other way to Crichton. Boom, straight through.
You know how they changed the camera angle to the back of the post? Yeah, I didn't click. It went over. I was still trying to figure out.
Go if I went. Oh yeah.
And then when I saw the boys run,
they were gathering. I was like,
oh yeah. So I was delayed of my reaction. Oh man,
it's been cool to see the reactions the way onto social media. Like now, people film themselves like watching the game. Ah man, there's been some real funny ones, but there's been some real really cool emotional ones, like where you see like the ko'ingas, you know, like the older people watching it with their families, and then they get teary-eyed. I'm like, man, I wish the old man was here, you know, who can share a moment like that with him. And I was talking to my cousin about it too, and I was like, so I wish our dads were here, you know, like to witness this. But then in my head, I was like, so even though they won, they'll still be like, so this team's kaya. They'll find a way, you know, they'll find a way to say that this team's kaya somehow. But I just started laughing. But nah, it's me. I'm proud, bro. Proud to be a Samoan now.
Yeah, man. I was wide awake after that. Man, just... I'm glad it's an earlier game, 5 a.m. I think. Yeah, 5 a.m. Sunday. Yeah. And I hope the winner's going to be good, because I heard they're going to have some big screen TVs.
So I saw we just looked before, there's Trust Stadium,
They're going to have one there?
Yeah, I think, well, I didn't read it properly. I just saw Trust Stadium as everyone, so might have to get down there. With a headgear and a mouth guard.
Oh man, it's big. I asked the boys this question. Do you think this is the biggest event since David Tua versus Lennox Lewis?
Ooh.
Because my answer to that was it will be if Tua wins.
Yeah.
Because David Tua lost, unfortunately.
Yeah.
If Tua wins, that's now that will be the best. That will be the number one. But then the counter from that was, but there was no flags around when David Tua was about to fight.
Yeah.
So
there was no flag, but everyone was watching, because it was a Sunday. Do you remember it was a Sunday? I remember I was a kid. I could have been I would have been a little bit older than you. Or I could have been. Or anyway, I just remember, bro, after church, everyone, like, we were all my family, or, you know, my close family, my cousins, my granddad, my grandma, my aunties and uncles. I remember watching that.
That's world heavyweight world champion.
That's a tough one. Eh? Off the top of my head, I'd say, I can't really think about anything else. But
the popularity of the sport's easy.
Yeah.
Boxing is worldwide, more than rugby league. But I think in terms of sports, that is the biggest. In terms of pride and culture, I think this will be this tournament. Because we never did the parades in there for David Tua, but we did. We knew the significance.
Everyone knew the significance of
that.
And everyone watched it. True. You're right.
It's a hard one,
Because I was even thinking, like, I was messaging one of the boys today. I posted we got the t-shirts that we got, the Tua Samoa t-shirts. Posted it on a story. And he messaged back, like, just like, you know, to go Tua Samoa all the way. And then I just messaged him. I was like, this reminds me of when you guys beat Australia. I've got that same feeling. Like, let's do it. We can do it. And he never messaged back. So, but like, you know, like there's moments where we've been on top like that. You know, like the Australian one, David Tua, like, even though he lost. Mark Hunt, like, there's a lot of.
I wouldn't even throw in Manu Samoa beating Wales.
Oh yeah,
in the World Cup
91. Was 91? I was 5.
There was 2. We beat them twice. We beat them in 2 World Cups.
When was?
There was
Oh, yeah. That's right.
95, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember that one. That one used to come up on all the highlights, even when you Google Samoa.
Yeah. Well, that was the reason why they changed the rules.
That's right. It was not long after that, eh?
After that, they changed the
Bloody
rules.
punks.
But, that's the colonization thing we've been talking about.
Yeah. We're not racist people, guys. We just want an even playing field. Not only in sports and life as well.
It's funny because we have this podcast with Lady, the one inside the clip. It was like a weekly talk about what's going on in the week. And the past 3 episodes all have been about Toa Samoa, man. I mean, this whole week, 2 weeks, this whole campaign after the 66 loss, like it's been like everybody, like you can't get away from the story and you can't talk about anything else.
Yeah. Every second post is about Toa Samoa. Every story is 685 on the radio.
I mean, if the Singers had any idea, they would have stocked up on all those flags, man. This week, everyone is looking for flags, and there's no flags.
So like, we went and looked after Sunday. At like 8:30 in the morning after the semi. We went. I thought I had one, but bro, I don't know where it's gone. And I said to my son, I was like, let's get up. We'll go early and try and find it. So we drove everywhere around West Auckland. And so they even saw some of the same cars. There were some places that we were. So we're just pulling, is there any flags? They were like, nah, there's no flags. Like, shit. Thanks, Oos. Have a good Sunday. And we just drove off. And we went to Look Sharp at Westgate. I think it's Look Sharp. And we're like, do you guys have any? So, and then we started looking and we saw the Taiwan flags. We're like, so there's 2 there. Had a look. And then something in me was like, just open it and have a look and see if it's the real one. So they opened it and it was Taiwan. Didn't even have the stars. I was like, lucky we didn't buy it. Otherwise we'd be walking around with a Taiwanese flag. And I said to them, I was like, hey, can you check the stock, please? And then they said, Albany.
Albany?
And I was like, of course there's.
Is there one?
Of course there's. They've got them in Albany. And then I just said to them, I was like, nah, we'll leave it. We'll try and find something during the week. And I turned up to work on Monday, and deputy principal was like, where's your flag? I was like, we went everywhere to try and find one. And then I said to him, can I use the one that we use for Samoa Language Week that you put at the front? And he goes, yeah, I've got 2. So he gave us one. I've just been wearing it as a Superman cape the whole week. All kids are like, bro, it's only a game. I was like, it's not a game. This is my life. This is what we live for, bro. To be moments like this, to be proud, that we can show the world. We can foot it with anyone.
Proud out, man. So proud of these. Like, man, I can't believe they actually at the final. Because, okay, I had my doubts. I thought they were going to lose to England, but if I was a betting man, I would have put my money on England.
Sally, this guy's the one. This guy's one of those ones that were in the comments after the 66. Oh man, I'll be honest, bro. Even before the campaign started, I was like, get the coach out. I don't want the coach. I didn't realize he'd been. I didn't realize he had been like coach for 12 years or I was like, Sally, what sort of head coaches? It just shows how many internationals they have. Like, 1 year they might only have 1.
Well, I found that out after I heard the story about how Andrew Johns was going to come over, and they said, nah.
Especially Andrew Johns, and his brother.
Yeah. And
then SPW. Imagine Samoa saying, how can you say no to those 3? Or Andrew Johns, he's an immortal. And then, bro. And you say no to them, I was like, nah. I was always anti the coach after that. I was like, there's something fishy going on here. I was like, nah, get that coach out. I don't like him. And then that 60-6 stumping just gave me the see, I told you, get rid of him. Get rid of him.
But even his when Stephen Crichton won the game and the camera shot up to the coach's box and they were cheering.
He's got no emotions, He
doesn't have emotions. but yeah, that's the first time I've seen him smile and with Jeff Tui on the other side of him. But man, it was cool. It was cool to see him happy. Yeah. Because that's what we can do. this is the team you adopted. You know, you're coaching. This is what we can do. You know.
It would. I think it would have. Like, because even like when you read stuff about the team now, like there's a lot of the senior players that are in there that didn't want them. They wanted them X too. Yeah. So I wonder what that feeling was like coming into camp again after the last campaign, voicing your opinion, saying I don't want this guy to be coach, and then he's coach again, and then to come in and get pumped 60-6. How was that feeling in the camp afterwards?
Did you listen to his press conference post?
Nah, not this one, not this one.
Because he was always talking about the pride and how the energy of, and I was thinking, what exactly are you doing? You know, is this just the boys? You're not
running the cutter.
Doing it. You're not helping. All you're doing is directing the players. Or directing where they go and the passion in that from the boys. Yeah. Like how much of that? Because when the coach is always like he has to be the motivator. Like he probably doesn't have to be motivated, be that motivator. He doesn't have to be that guy, because the boys already have it, I guess. Yeah,
they should. Like, at the end of the day, like the players are the ones that are playing the game, so you've got to G yourself up somehow.
Yeah, there's stories on Junior Polo like talking to the boys, and so they've got leaders already.
I saw that one. I saw that. Is that the one where they were saying like be proud of what we've? Yeah, that was a cool one. Yeah. That one hit home.
So I get that's not Matt Parrish's job then. I think the boys got to suss out with the motivation side of things. And plus, they've already acknowledged the fans, us, Yeah. So I guess it was only game plan. So if it was a game plan that probably they didn't like, that's why they wanted them out, But
culture could be like another thing too. Like,
exactly.
Yeah, I don't know, like
because he doesn't understand.
Yeah, true.
Because I was nitpicking his first press conference when they lost to England 60-6. I listened closely to his words he was saying, and I was like you, man. I was like, man, this is not the guy, man. He's saying these words are probably like when Tyrone May was in hospital, was hip. His guy, is he probably?
I remember hearing that.
And I was thinking, fuck, you don't even know your boys are. What? Like, what kind of coach are you? Like,
So is it just me or does he look like the Joker? I was like, Sully, there's enough guys in the Samoan team that know how to get good haircuts. Can we go and take the coach to get a haircut, please? Nah, that's sad. But I was just gutted, bro. Well, look how far they've come. Like with Matt Parrish being the coach. But who knows now? Like, it's easy for us to say. Imagine having Andrew Johns, the Johns brothers, and then SPW involved. But
we're just looking at their pedigree.
100%. Well, the Johns brothers can coach, and I think Sonny's. The point of difference that Sonny would bring is the respect. Not that there's no respect there now, but he'll bring like that kind of element where, I've been there, done that. Not won a World Cup. I don't think he's won a League World Cup, but he's won Rugby World Cups. And he's been an elite athlete performing at that high level for many years. So a lot of the players look up to him and respect him for what he's done in the game. So he would have brought that element. But like you said, it's easy to nitpick now and be that. Like I'm just proud that they're playing in the finals, bro. They got one more job to do, and I think regardless of whether they win or lose, like I'll be proud of them.
Yeah,
just to win, they will be the icing on the cake. I can only imagine how they felt after that, because social media is a cruel world, man. I know they would have been like, taking everyone's receipts, like, so this guy said that, that guy said this, and then to come out and perform and win away from home, away from their families. In England,
See, my take on all of that. In the final, it's different to the England game because these guys know each other.
Yeah,
they all play in the NRL. Either teammates or playing against each other, so they know what each other can do.
Yeah.
So it's if I think like if they like say most of like a lot of the Penrith players are playing in Samoa, So if you can imagine that NRL team like the Penrith Panthers playing against another NRL team, it might be just looking at it in that perspective.
Yeah.
That they already play each other, so it's up in the air. You know, it's sort of even.
Yeah.
In my eyes, anyway. Like if I look at that perspective, not Kangaroos versus Samoa, because that's when you say Kangaroos versus Samoa, all you get out of that is the aura of the Kangaroos team. Like they beat everybody.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. It's like the basketball, they're like the USA Dream Team. It's like that. Eh?
Yeah.
But if you just look at the players,
Player for player,
and look at where they come from, they were, and you look at it that way, take away
the aura,
the aura,
yeah,
and just say, okay, this. Let's just look at this as an NRL game and see who's gonna win. You know.
Yeah, you're right.
So it can be anyone's game.
It could be anyone's game.
Yeah. Because the thing with me with the England game, because that was the thing that because I don't watch Super League, so I don't know.
Yeah.
It's hard to judge.
Yeah.
It's hard to me to do that same technique I'm doing with the final. So I'm putting more money down on Toa, man, for the final, man, because it's going to be a mean game.
That's going to be mean.
And I think the Kiwis sort of gave the blueprint on how to beat Kangaroos, because I don't know if you watched that game, but man, the Kiwis almost had it. They just ran out.
Yeah, just ran out. Yeah,
ran out the gas, man.
And I think even Tonga gave a blueprint of how to beat
Samoa.
The Kangaroos. You know how they beat them? Was it last year or the year before? Yeah, just got to beat them up, man. You stick to our strengths, which is our hard ball carries, strong ball carries. Sorry, and then I think we just got to outmuscle them, and then we play. But then it comes down to fitness too. Like, can we last? Well, there's a few injuries too, eh? Like I saw, because I saw Whamanu Brown's out, obviously with that concussion. And who's the other one? Spencer Leniu.
He's out too.
I said, I don't know if they didn't rule him out officially, but they said that he could potentially miss the game because of shoulder niggles and stuff. And we were already behind because he was the hooker before Danny Levi. Is Danny Levi? So he got injured before. I don't know what it was.
So only got one hooker, no sub.
Well, even Chanel Tavita Harris isn't really a hooker, but he filled in mean on, he did well.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I think, because they haven't got much subs there now.
No, I know they called a few guys in, but whether they play those positions or whether they get selected to play it is a different story.
Yeah.
So,
man, I'm never seen. Because when Toa wins, imagine that, man, parades forever.
So no one's going to wear it next week. Don't drive your car anywhere because you're going to get stuck. Doesn't matter where you are. But I'm like you. I'm nervous, bro, but I'm just so proud, man.
But it's a good nervous, eh?
Yeah.
And there's a nervous I never felt before watching the game. Not even with All Blacks or even with the Kiwis or any game, any team I support.
Yeah.
I've never had this much energy exerted from any other team, And I'm reminded about when I watched that Manu Samoa game when they beat Australia. Like, you remember that game?
Yeah, what's that? Yeah.
When I watched it, I didn't believe it, and it was just it was a gradual. Oh fuck! I think we're gonna win.
Yeah, it was. And bro, do you remember the stadium? There was hardly anyone in the stadium. It was all Samoan fans, bro. I remember that. I was like, the nerve of these guys thinking they're gonna come here and beat Manu Samoa. This is just a walk in the park. And they had a gun team. Do you remember they had a gun team there? Dick Ioane was playing. Wilginia.
Yeah, that's right.
Matt Gaitau. I remember him chasing down Tuilangi. Do you remember when Tuilangi got that break? And he did that Superman dive. Anyone else would have got winded except for that guy. He can dive and land like that and then get up like nothing's happened.
The Wallabies wing, the short guy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, they had, yeah.
Because that was his debut, I think, or his first year.
This one when he's getting smashed.
He was getting smashed. But he had a mean Super Rugby. Yeah. That's why they got
I
picked.
forgot what his name was.
Yeah.
Yeah, that guy. Poor guy. Oh my gosh.
You know, speaking of Sonny B. Williams, because you went to Australia to be in his corner, eh? For the
I wasn't in his corner. I just went and I was lucky enough to go over and you could say be in his corner, but just help him prep. Just have familiar faces around while in camp. That was a buzzy experience. We went to his last one. I took my youngest son with me.
Yeah.
And this time round, I kind of promised my older one that he can come, but he had some important schoolwork that needed to be finished. So he missed out. So yeah, I went over. But yeah, man, what an experience! Like I remember first hearing, "Oh, so I'm fighting Mark Hunt." So this is a joke, you know, like, hey, what a joke. But then, like, when I look back at it, I'm like, that's just Sonny, bro. Like, he always wants to challenge himself, and to be the best, you got to beat the best. And a lot of people say, like, Mark Hunt's 48 years old. He's old. But I'm like, Mark Hunt's been smashing guys for 30-something years. So he's always going to have that mentality. Like, even, I remember the press conference, it was like, I'm going to smash his face. Like, that's just Mark.
Yeah.
So, and like, I would see him a few times during the week. So we had like a few media sessions, and there was open training. They had open training and then press conference and then weigh-in. So like, every time, you know, like being a young Samoan kid, so all you watch is David Tua, Mark Hunt, like Ray Sefo. Those were like my idols, man. And I always wanted to like, oh, chances on the photo, but I always felt bad because so I'm here representing my uso, like,
Yeah.
and I always had in my head like, I want to get a photo, I want to go talk to him, like, I want to go see like what he's like, but I just never got around to it because I wanted to, like, my loyalty was to Sonny and help him, like, you know. But I was in awe, man. Like even seeing the Tougher brothers, like, bro, I was like, man, these guys are Westies as well. In my head, so like, can I have a photo? Like, I was like, and I, looking back on it, I wish I did, because that was another moment to celebrate Samoans, bro. You know, Samoans doing good things. Like, and I've always had this conversation with Sonny too. Oh, not just Sonny, but like Afakasi guys that are proud to be Samoan. But to Samoans, they're not Samoan enough. And I remember talking to him, like I said to him, like even with myself, like, bro, I grew up, my grandparents raised me. They started a church with extended family members in Newland, the Newland e Whakasa. And so our family grew up in that era. There's some things that happened that I didn't agree with. Through rugby, I knew rugby was played on Sunday. So if I can make rep teams, I don't have to go to church. So
right.
Yeah. And so that stuff happened. And so I was about 12, same age as my son. Now where I started to understand and realize that stuff, like, oh, yeah, rugby will get me out of going to church. I don't have to go. And so from 12 to, well, maybe 12 to the rest of my life, like, well, up until now, I fell away from understanding, or like the language, because, you know, you're always around it when you're at church and you're going to Bessie and doing all that kind of stuff. Like, I lost the language. I lost speaking my native tongue. And I remember going into high school. Sorry, bro. This is it's not going off topic, but I'm just trying to paint a picture so you can understand where.
It's all good. Who's the time?
So I lost being able to speak, but I could understand it, certain parts. As I started getting older, I started getting less and less. And I remember at high school, bro, like the boys would always mock me, like, "So you're not Samoan, you can't even speak, bro." Like, and I'd laugh, but so they cut me, bro. Like, it cut me deep, and that kind of like it would be like stored emotions, you know, like when we were talking at the start about mental health, or not mental health, but like the BALLSY journey and growing up as a young Pacifica male, like what you can and cannot do and all that, like that stuff was like, that was like the ultimate insult, like, because I looked Samoan, but I'm not being accepted by some. Like these are my best mates, man. Like, I always get mustard. This guy's a fake. He's plastic. Like I'd laugh at the time, but I didn't. Like, but it hurt me hard out. And so all that stored emotion would come and haunt me later on. Anyway, like I've had a conversation with Sonny too about it, and his is like this. He's like, "Oh, that's the same as me. How do you think I came up with the shoulder charge?" You know, and I was like, "Oh, I had to prove. I felt like I had to prove myself through smashing guys." And when I look back at it too, I'm like, man, I wonder if like for him to feel like to be accepted, he had to change who he was as a person. Because of all that, this guy's plastic. This guy, look at the colors. He's not Samoan. Like, and so he. I remember him telling me, he's like, so that's why I always wanted to show like bucka guys, because just to be accepted and have that connection. And so, like during that stuff, like I felt like a lot of people would write off Sonny leading into that fight because he's not Samoan enough. Let's go with my cunt. And I'm not saying you pick and choose, then come on this side, then be on this side and say, oh, yeah. I'm just saying, like, they're both amazing athletes in their own right. Markant, like, bro, he paved the way for fight. He helped pave the way for fighters, like, and it's amazing what he's doing now. Like, he's standing up for not only himself, but the other Pacifica fighters coming through and all UFC fighters to get equal pay. Like, bro, I love that stuff. But you got Sonny as well. He's like a freak athlete, like rugby, elite, start off league, rugby. He's a boxer now. But he could be a table tennis player. Like, you know, regardless of what it is, like, I still don't think like he doesn't get as much support as he should for representing Samoa in the way that he does on the international stage. And so I was
just by being Samoan.
Just for being, yeah. And I just thought it was like, instead of us being able to celebrate two amazing Samoan athletes, I think Mark was born in Samoa, but Sonny's a New Zealand-born Samoan. Like, but regardless of wherever they're born, they're both Samoans. And if Sonny had won, I like, as much as I love Mark, like, and I saw the work that Sonny put in. I see the way that he is as a person, like the way he dedicates himself. Like, I honestly thought he could have a chance, and that's like, I'm being loyal to him for it. But I also know, like, man, I didn't know how his training camp went, but he did lose a lot of weight, and he looked really good. He looked in good nick. But I just thought, man, this Sonny's got it. And then with the loss, he obviously took it a little bit harder than what I thought, but he's always been hard on himself. And I think he even said it on one of his post-fight interviews, he was embarrassed. No, like, I felt sorry. Like, I didn't feel sorry for him. I felt cut. Like, man, what are you embarrassed for, bro? Like, look at your achievements that you've done. Look at how you've put Samoa on the map. And I know he wouldn't say it, but I just think, like, man, he just wants to, like, why can't we accept him as a Samoan instead of being, I don't know.
Do you think that's been his drive for competing?
I can't. The way that was, yeah.
With sports, I mean, he's used sports to, like, you know, how he had these conversations with him about his culture and that.
Yeah.
Be accepted. Like, this is his way.
Yeah. I wouldn't say, like, even in the book, bro, he's always wanted to be the best person that he can be, and he's always wanted to be, like, sport has always been what's driven him to provide for his family. But I can't say whether that's been a driving factor for him. But from the outside looking in, like, I think it might have a impact on, yeah. But
because when I first heard they were going to fight, and then I heard that it was Sonny's camp that asked for the fight.
Yeah.
So then my first reaction was, oh, that's different. Like, I thought we were all supposed to be Samoans, you know, like we're all brothers. We don't fight each other and that. Yeah. So that was my first sort of thought. Until after the fight and what happened and all that, and just thinking about it, it's more to me a celebration of Samoans in in the highest levels of sport, or in the high level of sport, just competing with each other and just celebrating that.
Yeah.
Being
Yeah.
Mark Hunt and Sonny Bill Williams, two Samoan fighters at the top of the game, sort of thing.
Yeah, I'm just like I thought it should have been. We could have celebrated it a lot more, but I don't know what it is, man. Like, there's a lot of people that just don't like SBW, like, and I don't know what I don't know if it's because he's always been in a position where he can do what he wants, not do what he wants, but have the opportunities to get. Okay, I feel like I want to try my hand at this, and he's gone and being courageous enough to follow through with it.
That would be the best thing about him, that he's able to do that.
I
mean, if we talk about people showing a pathway, well, that's him showing a pathway. He can be good at this. He can be good at this too. He can be, he can do three things.
Yeah. Well, even like he says it in a lot of his interviews too, like how he's gone into do media stuff now and be a reporter. Like he said, I said, are you sure you want to do that? Because you can string sentences together. I mean, like he'll come out and say, he'll be like, I wanted to do something for our Pacifica people to show that, hey, there's someone that looks and sounds like me that's doing something that I want to do, but I'm not courageous enough to follow. So the more we see people like that on TV, the more it will inspire, hopefully, the next generation or someone to just be like, man, I can try my hand at that. And that's why I think, like, he's, league stuff happened, and then he went to rugby. He became a, 2-time world champ as an All Black, won 2 or 3 Super Rugby titles, and then he went back to league and won 2 NRL titles, just being in a position to show kids or show our Pacifica, our Māori Pacifica people, you don't need to be pigeonholed. Don't let anyone tell you what you need to do, what you can be. Go out and do what you want to do. But do it wholeheartedly, and that's what he does. Everything he does, he puts 110% in. He's one of my best mates, but looking from the outside in, he's that's just him, bro. And he's one of the most giving people. One of the most giving people that I've met. Just even being over in camp with him, or just walking around, people want to talk to him. He gives his time. I'm not saying that other athletes don't, but he's genuine about it. And there was a lot of times where we walked past homeless people, and he would just go take this and give it to them. But I said, why don't you do it? And he goes, nah, I don't want people to think this guy's just doing it just so people can see him. So he'll see them. I wouldn't even be looking, bro. He'll be like, "This, go down there and give it to." And I'm like, "What?" So he'll give me, a decent amount, and just that's a mail offer. This is. I can't say who it's from, but that's just his heart. And it's not just recently, bro. He's done it most times. Every time I go out with him, he'll always do it. He's always giving to people, giving, whether it's money or time, and I like it. And having him as a close mate, seeing people not rubbish his name, but talk rubbish about him, bro, it cuts me. And I'm like, man, if only everyone knew who the real person behind the name is, then there'll be a lot more respect. But he doesn't have to go out and prove, he knows who he is, but still having that loyalty factor, I'm just that's my uso, man. If you got to know him, then you wouldn't talk. There's a lot, bro, that I can say about that fella, and he's played a massive part in my life. The last, even with the BALLSY journey, bro, he's just, I can't speak highly enough of him, man. I know he doesn't like me talking about it, but that's just him.
I read his book.
Yeah,
I read his book. It was interesting to me how he grew up, and when he talked about playing for the Bulldogs the first time and getting into that sort of party scene, and knowing that it's not really him.
Yeah,
but it's just part of the culture, part of the
crazy
that scene, and then I remember reading, and that's when he sort of fell into his religion, because that was something that made him be actually force him to be himself.
Yeah.
Like, because he knew that wasn't him doing that stuff.
Yeah.
Behind the scenes and that, and the religion sort of made him concentrate on who he is for real, like his real person, his real person. Like,
Yeah. It's like we always talk about, growing up, we're always church family, like our family's always church orientated, and he was the same. I think they kind of fell away. I'm not too sure. I think it touches on it in the book, but like identity, that was like an identity part for him. Was like, man, like this isn't me. Like what we're talking about, this isn't me. What can I, where can I find that connection? But, so that belief in a higher being was always there, and then meeting various people. He was blessed with Islam, and that kind of paved the way for who he is today. Yeah.
And I think that's what impressed me more about him reading his book, because I just think of me. If I was in that party scene, I would stay in that party scene.
So who wouldn't?
I'd just be, But just to hear him talk about how, just realizing, like he talks about getting in trouble, and just knowing that it's wrong, but he still does it, but he knows that it's wrong, and it's not him.
Yeah,
like I think that's something I wouldn't do.
Yeah. Well, like if you think of it, like growing up, we're the opposite. Like I remember growing up, like go out and have a few beers with the boys, and then just want to stay in that zone, play.
Yeah. For me, I think someone has to tell me. But look, man.
Stop.
Come on, man. You're almost 50 years old, man. What are you doing? What are you doing?
Yeah.
Someone has to tell me. Otherwise, I'm just going to keep on going, being stupid. But it sounds like he figured it out for himself.
Quite early on, too.
Quite
like,
early,
in the book. Yeah.
But then that's the way to go forward if you want to be good. If you want to be the best at something, you got to commit yourself 100% to that, whatever that is. And everything else is just distraction. Stopping you from making that, and I think part of his journey and why he's so good at what he does is because he's passionate about those things, and he works really hard.
Yeah.
You can get caught in the party scene and you can lose track and at any time. But I think because that's all he knows, he only knew growing up that he's got to go back on that track again and still go.
That wallpaper story always, the wallpaper story in the in the book, he always says, man, I always wanted to buy my mum a house and get her nice wallpaper.
Yeah.
That's great. But he's silly. I can't speak highly of him, but he's done a lot for me and my family through my journey. So yeah, I was just blessed to be able to be part of that camp with him, and
because he hinted that was his last.
Yeah,
not sure, but
I don't think so. I don't know.
So he's 37 now.
Yeah, he's 37. Yeah, I don't know what's next for him. Yeah. Well, I guess we'll find out over the next couple of weeks. I think he's just the loss hit him hard, or hit everyone quite hard, and yeah. I spoke to him earlier on in the week, just touch base to see if he's all good, because I didn't see him. I flew out on Sunday, and I was meant to spend the night and just catch up with all the boys before we leave. But he just wanted to go home and be with his family, which is fair enough. So I said goodbye to him and then be in touch. And I just spoke to him Monday or Tuesday. He seems in good spirits. He's good. He said he watched the fight back for the first time.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, suddenly, man, I should have just boxed. So I was like, hey, it's easy, it's easy to watch things back and do what you could have done better. But it's good. It's good to see him or hear him and in good spirits. And
has he commented to you about the Tō Samoa?
Yeah, he was happy, bro.
Yeah.
He misses me. Because, have you been to any of the parades? And I was like, not yet. We didn't have any flags. But he's proud, man. he's always proud to be a Samoan. But he's stoked. Yeah.
Sure, fine. Yeah, I hope. Hope we don't see the last of him. Might,
Yeah.
so be good.
He'll be floating around, bro. He'll. I think. I want him to fight again, and I want him to fight that one person that everyone wants him to fight. But
the
Paul
Paul.
Gallen,
Yeah.
Paul Bags. But I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Are you New South or Queensland?
New South.
Nice.
Yeah, you're Queensland, eh?
Nah, New South.
Oh, you're lucky. You're lucky. I was gonna turn this off.
Nah, man, New South.
Yeah.
You touched on, checking up.
Yeah.
And that's been a thing, that's been a narrative for a lot of things for us, for our people when it comes to mental health. And it's something that's new, I think. I feel. The whole talking about stuff, checking up on people, not leaving it in.
Yeah.
I think for me, the last 5-6 years, I think. But it's been like hard out. Like you hear it everywhere on social media, on the other podcasts, on the news, on TV, and on interviews and that.
Yeah.
It's a good thing, eh?
100%.
It's a good thing because I try to think about my own mental health journey, and it's hard for me to think anything that was bad.
Yeah.
Because I have trouble.
Yeah.
I have trouble thinking about what depression is, because I don't understand it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't think I've ever been in that place. In that state. I've had anxiety, but then I hear people say, "Oh, everyone has mental health. Like it doesn't matter how little or big it is. You're gonna have anxiety sometime in your life, and it depends on how you react to it and all that."
You just hit it on the head then.
Yeah.
I think like if you look at it like a scale, like everyone's on the spectrum somewhere. Just some people can understand and acknowledge their emotions, and then you've got the other end where people just can't. So everyone's floating around here somewhere. There'll be days where like, and I can only speak on my own. From my own perspective. Everyone else is like everyone's floating around here somewhere. There'll be days where they're like, man, I can't be effed, like, oh, I can't, and you could be up this end, or like, and there'll be days where you'll be like, nah, man, I'm fine. Like, energy's contagious, but it's like through life, like everyone's different. Like everyone, there's no, how can I say, there's no. Like mental health doesn't discriminate. So whether you're Samoan, Maoli, Palangi, like doesn't matter your heritage or your culture, where you're from, it doesn't discriminate. So it'll come after anyone. But it's just being on that spectrum. You got to be able to understand and acknowledge. Okay, I'm not feeling a certain way, or I'm not feeling 100%. Like how can I accept and acknowledge it, or this end, like. Let's get on the, like, I would always look back at my own journey and be like, when I was down this end, I was like, let's get on the piss, like, let's get a drink, like, I need to get out, like, yeah. And I think, like, now that I've navigated my way through my own depression and anxiety journey, it's gone from, let's go drink, let's get out, like, go out, blah, 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 party, to, also let's have a coffee, like, let's go out for breakfast. Like my whole mindset has changed around that now, and like it's sad to, it's not a lot of the boys that I used to hold close to me are still in this end. Like, let's go out and drink, let's go out and party. But for me, I tell them also that's not part of my life anymore. I can't do that. But I'm still here for you in this capacity. Let's go and have breakfast. But because they're still stuck. Not stuck, they still like this area too much. our not I wouldn't say our relationship or our friendship has gone like this. It's just like, man, meet me halfway, please, because that's not my life anymore, and I can't. So, yeah, that's.
See, you know how you describe that.
Mm-hmm.
See, I'm 44 years old
Yeah.
right now. I was probably there until I was 36, 37.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Now I've sort of like moved over.
Yeah.
You know, but I like to think about back then when I was here.
Yeah.
And the thing I think about is like, man, that's a lot of years mucking around.
Yeah.
Like not progressing.
Yeah.
Man,
Psychically,
if I started back here, I would have been further now.
Yeah.
And that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I've always have that
Yeah.
in my head. Like if I started saving when I was 21, would I have 2 houses right now?
Yeah.
You know, no boxes of beer. But you just can't go back to that. You just got to carry on.
Yeah.
Move on. But at the time when I was here, like, I was doing all that stuff.
Yeah.
But at no time, I don't know if it was because I didn't acknowledge there was better places, or until people started overtaking me.
And then you start
And
thinking.
then, yeah. And then start thinking. But for me, it was all about a progression thing. It wasn't because I was sad and I needed to drink. It's because I just wanted to have fun.
Yeah.
But then I hear things on social media like sometimes procrastination is a form of depression.
Yeah.
Like,
There's always. Yeah.
And then I'm like, what? Really? I'm like thinking, really? Was I depressed then?
Well, here's a question, Nenos.
Yeah.
See how we're talking about this area, like saying the drinking and why do we have to associate fun with alcohol?
Yeah, that's what I'm realizing now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm the same too. Like, everyone, I don't know anyone that wouldn't look back and be like, man, I used to do this. Like, man, that was fun. Like, But I was like, that's like, and I could be going off topic, but just like looking at the sport industry now, like, like alcohol is one of the always the number one sponsors for these events. Like, is that why we associate alcohol with fun, like winning World Cups? Let's have a beer. Let's
celebrate.
Celebrate. Let's get trashed. Like,
what's also part of the rugby culture?
Yeah.
Have a beer after the game and Yeah.
What does it have to, why do we have to? Why can't we? We can't have a coffee, or what cover? Why cover's getting more prominent now in changing rooms. Like the boys will have a cover session, but I think like being on this navigating through the mental health space, like I just find like I want to help our people. I want to help, but I can't help in the environment where we want to drink and do all that stuff. Not from a religious perspective, but from a perspective, you're gonna wake up tomorrow morning and tell me, sorry, I was drunk. But you've just spilt your heart to me, and I've like, bro, okay, let's put this plan, and then I get a text the next day like, sorry, I was drunk. That I was like, man, they always say when you're drunk, that's when you speak your heart. That's poison. But there's no right or wrong way to but
I think for us to progress as a people, like we need to think about how to progress in this Western world. We can always stay where we are and it's just like the cycle. You talked about the cycle. Yeah, we can stick in the cycle, but is this cycle gonna last for the next 20 years, 50 years? When robots take over and we can't, no more.
Well, even
that kind of stuff.
When we spoke about it earlier on about growth, like growing, like this, is it because? This is just the question: is it because our people aren't used to growing? Like we've always been in a cycle, like school, go to work, look after your elders, and I love that. That's what our family's built off. Like, go to school, get a good education, work, look after your elders, look after your mum and dad, look after your grandparents. That's, bro, I'm never going to change it because that's what I grew up with and that's what I love. But how can we grow in that space? Like, how can I explain it?
And that's probably what this book I'm reading, that decolonization book, talks about. How can decolonization use that stuff that's good, that we know is good? How can everybody use it?
Yeah.
How can all of us use that? Because the BALLSYs don't really do that kind of thing. But decolonization is all about bringing back, taking colonization away and bringing back a culture, good values for humans, for all of us. Like, I think the definition of colonization is that they come, they take what they like, and they throw away what they don't like, and then we'll move on with
this,
these things, and then we're like left with, hey, we're not half. We're half, we don't understand. Then we're in the space where we're like, don't know, like, what about, So decolonization is about bringing everything that's good, and for everyone to understand
that this is good,
and let's take
and
it,
then it's all move together.
So if what you were describing with how we are helping people with, with a collective sort of thing, Like, the first thing I'm thinking on my head is the whole old people's homes. Yeah. Like, we don't have that. Like, what the hell is that? We don't have that, right?
They didn't even get me started on that.
But see, that's the kind of thing we're talking about. Like, if the BALLSYs came and saw us not have old people's home and think, you know what, you guys should have an old people's home. That's better. Yeah. That's better. And we go, hey.
Is it better or is it a money-making scheme?
That's just them. But no, this is better. We just look after our own. Like, we look after all the kids. But they don't want to hear that. Yeah. No. Yeah. But what if we bring it all back? How can we integrate all this good stuff? Yeah.
Yeah. No, you're right, bro.
Did we just go off topic?
No, but that's the thing. Like, like, there's so much to talk about. We want to go off topic. We're always going to go off topic, but like whatever we're speaking about it's. But going back to the mental health aspect, there's so much to talk about in that space too. But for our people, just understanding, it's hard because the way we were raised, we just need to understand and acknowledge that it is okay for us to ask for help. It's not a weakness. It's not a sign of weakness. And I know growing up, we're always taught, especially as males, like, shh, don't cry, that's enough. Don't show emotions. And I always look back, like, when you think about it, like, Matais, like chiefs of villages, like, how did they feel, man? Because they're in charge of a village. They're in charge of a group of people. And imagine wanting to ask for help because I don't know how, like, I don't know how to do this. So the next person in charge will be like, Silly, this guy's weak. He's asking for help, like, and then the village will turn on them. Like, having that same mentality in mental health. That's why I think people don't reach out, is because the fear of being judged. But there shouldn't be a fear of being judged, because for a human connection, it's human nature for me to want to ask you for help. But it's that fear of, I can't ask this guy for help because what will he think of me? When you get through that stage, like, especially that's what I was like for a lot of majority of my life, was I was too scared of being judged by other people and what other people would think. But as soon as I was forced into put my hand out and ask for help. But once it happened, like, bro, the weight was lifted off my shoulders, and we're talking about looking back at our life. I was like, bro, I just wasted, like, like, wow, why didn't I do this earlier? And I think that's how the BALLSY journey just came about. And I was like, my first, like, I need help. Reached out for help, and then, once I found, like, not saying it'll be easy for everyone, but once the weight was lifted off my shoulder, I was like, okay, how can I help our people? I went straight into that mode, like, man, if I feel like this now, after feeling like that, how can I help our people not go through what I'd just been through? Because to be fair, I was lucky enough to I'm still lucky enough to be alive. Like, that's how far. and I'm like suicide was never on my mind. But at the time, what I was going through, like all I know is I needed to sleep, and I nearly overdosed on Tramadol. And so, just like, yeah, and then after that, reaching out for help, having gone through all that stuff, that's when I knew, like, damn, our people need this. Because when I was going through what I went through, there was no one that looked like me that was speaking about mental well-being, or like, because it's a taboo subject, and I think it's taboo in our culture too because of religious reasons. You know what I mean? But I'm just grateful, man, that I'm still here and that I've been given another opportunity to be or speak about issues like this, because the more I've been able to, the more like the brothers and the usos have reached out and been like, man, I can resonate with your story because I've gone through it. And that's the whole point of why I do what I do, is because I don't want anyone else to. I'm not going to save everyone, but through me sharing my journey, hopefully it can inspire someone else to do the same thing. And especially being a father too, like the thought of, like, you know, leaving my kids behind by doing something that I wasn't really thinking about, like, bro, that motivates me too, is to be like, man, I need to be here for my kids. But I also need to teach them, understand, acknowledge your emotions, and never be scared to ask for help. Well, never be scared to come to dad and ask, because I was always scared to go to my grandfather. I was raised by my grandparents. I was always scared to go to my grandparents, or even my grandma. Like, there's no one really I could talk to say, because don't cry, boys don't cry. Like, do as you're told, don't ask questions. Like, with my kids, I've kind of reversed that role and been like, ask me questions. Like, ask me and your mother questions. How are you feeling? Like, which I try to make that, like, I'm not a perfect father. Like, I argue with my kids sometimes, like, when they don't listen, 95% of the time. But we try and have a open policy where we eat dinner or we're in cars, like, how's your day? Like, what's happening? And it's always just those, yeah, it was good. But we always try and have in-depth conversations, like, explain to me what happened. And then the more in-depth conversations we have, the more that I find out, like, this kid was annoying me, you know, like, but those conversations are meaningful for me because I never had them with my grandparents, like, and I'm not saying my grandparents are bad people, but they only knew what they knew. Mental health wasn't a thing back then. I remember actually when one of my cousins had mental health issues, and they were saying, like, oh, that's the devil, like, you know, that's the devil in them. I'm like, man, I was scared. But now when I was going through my journey, I was like, man, that's what they thought it was. They thought it was the devil, but it was just, they didn't know how to understand, or they didn't know how to acknowledge there's a lot of emotions that are there. Like, all they needed was to be able to unload and not be ostracized for not being able to share their emotions. And that's big in our culture, is when stuff like that happens, the cuppa goes up and they just sweep it under and put it back down. So,
I remember having a conversation with one of my cousins ages ago, talking about suicide, because the stats are high for us still.
Pacifica, especially Māori as well. Māori and Pacifica is really high.
It's really high for us. And we were just having a conversation about why we thought, you know, and I still remember what he said. He said, I think because we love too much.
Yeah.
That's what he said. I think we love too much. I didn't know what that meant.
Yeah.
What love? Yeah, because we love too much that we don't know how to handle it sometimes. You know?
Yeah. That's
we can play with our heads.
You know? Pride as well, ego.
Pride, yeah. And we don't release that. We have to release that. And that's where the talking comes in there.
Yeah.
But, so that's interesting. I always remembered that, because to me, love doesn't mean suicide.
Yeah.
But I think what he meant was just what we have in our hearts. We love so much that if it fails, something fails, we're gonna fail.
Yeah, and we feel
easy.
That's
because when we get heartbroken,
it's like that's it.
That's it. Yeah, that's it. Because we love too much. We give too much. That if something bad happens,
we didn't know how to
we
understand
can't.
that and acknowledge it.
Yeah.
And what's I'm just trying to think back about through my journey too. That loss, grief is another one. It's I spoke about it earlier, and said sport was a massive part. Sport was, and it was a way out for growing up in a Pacifica household. Sport is massive, whether it's boxing or rugby. Those were the two main ones, and I always even trying to make those rep teams at a young age, at 12, 13. The All Blacks was always the pinnacle, Samoa, All Blacks, that's the pinnacle. If you become one of those, then you've clocked life. And, as a young Pacifica kid, I chased that dream for so long that I neglected the other aspects of my life, school. You hear it all the time. It's a cliche saying, I went to school to eat my lunch. Most Polynesians would say the same. I went to school to eat my lunch and hang out with my friends. I did that, and I went to try and be the best rugby player that I could be, all while doing that. And then, because I had neglected how to share my emotions or everything else, and when that rugby thing fell through, who am I? Who am I? Where's the connection? There's no connection. Rugby was my connection. It's now been taken away. Who am I as a person? Rugby was all I knew, or sport was all I knew, and now that's gone.
Was it an injury? Or?
Yeah, I had 3 shoulder reconstructions before I was 23, and then I had 2 Achilles ruptures just before my son was born. So I kind of I was in the system, but I wasn't playing. So I was always in the system of teams, but I couldn't play because, the injuries. And so that was kind of enough for me. Who do you play for? So I'm with this team.
All right.
But I'm not playing because I'm doing rehab, or I'm just trying to come back from injury. But after even that was a battle in itself, was just going through, because I remember growing at high school, they would always tell us, you guys are only 1 injury away from never playing again. Being naive as a kid, but that's not going to happen to me, bro. I'm Superman, So next minute it happens. You have 3 big shoulder reconstructions before you're 23. So I'm still a kid. I'm still trying to figure out life, trying to be the best rugby player that I can be, but also trying to figure out life. Bro, while some of my other friends that I went to school with 23, some of them had businesses, some of them university, doing all these degrees, and his old mate trying to think he's the man and become an All Black or play for some, or just play professionally and in the scene, but not in the scene, if that makes sense. And then
I had the same fault as you, but doing my thing over here, thinking I'm better than everyone else because I'm free.
Yeah.
I don't have a kid to hold me down. I don't have a girlfriend.
Yeah.
I'm just partying hard out and and I'm looking down at people that starting families real early. That's what I was doing, and I was just carrying on, thinking that this was I'm the man.
Life. Yeah,
I'm having fun. I'm going out. Blah, blah, blah. And then you start seeing people getting more successful. Hey, hard work, man.
Yeah,
because they got their family early, so they've got their pathway and stuff.
So that's a thing. Not a downfall, but that's something that we're bad at too. Is comparing.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, comparing ourselves to other people, especially where they're out in their journey. Like everyone's different. That's a
Yeah, that is a thing. It's inequality. Because that comes down to like even social media and that. You know, when you know, it's the man's way of making us spend our money.
Yeah.
Because if they show Kardashians or whatever girls are into, or athletes, the cars they drive and all that kind of stuff, the reality TV,
You want to
you know, you want to live that lifestyle. You know, the influences that come on social media, nice clothes.
It's the devil's work, bro.
You know?
He's planting their seed. Like, come get this, come get this.
Yeah. So, you know, recently I've sort of like acknowledged all that, and thinking, man, how can I step back from and just be, because then I saw that thing called a minimalist.
Oh yeah.
You heard those guys?
Yeah.
That just have like nothing. But those two white dudes in America. Eh?
Yeah.
Did you see?
I seen that they had a
Because they're rich, but man, they just
minimalist thing.
like
nothing. Like they're just like nothing. It's like they got nothing, but they're grateful. That's the attitude.
Yeah.
Like they're grateful for everything they have, and then it's just, I don't know how they do it. I remember we tried it for like, I want to say 2 days, but really it was like 12 hours. I'm like, hey, bring that stuff back, hurry up. Oh man, but no, I seen that. That's
just
great.
the 2 white t-shirts and 2 blue jeans, you know,
no underwear. Nah.
and the 1 fork, one knife,
one plate, one
plate. in a small little apartment. I think he sold his car for a skateboard or something.
That's right, just to get away. Yeah. But it'll never happen in a Samoan household. So what are you gonna do with 1 fork? Someone's gonna get sussed with it.
I mean that's extreme, but we get the
the drift. Yeah.
Do we get the drift of it? I wouldn't go that far, but you know, not things that you want, you probably don't need.
Yeah.
You know, wants and needs different. So, you know, when you're caught in this part, you know, that's all you're about, like comparing, getting the best stuff, getting the latest stuff, nice clothes. But man, it's like, man, I just can't believe I was stuck there. You know, like it's a part of my life where I always look back on and say, man, I should have, could have, would have done. But then I always think, yeah, but if I didn't do that, I wouldn't be here I am today. That's
the growth, bro.
Yeah.
You know, that's cool, bro. That you can like we laugh now, but bro, that's cool. The growth that comes from it, and that's what I think we need to encourage our people more to do is grow. Like, don't be scared. Just take the first step. Jump if you have to jump, or like swim if you have to swim. But it's always that first step, you know. And then now look, we're talking about you being in this space and the growth that you've had now. That's meaningless. I love that for our people, man. Like, I love seeing and supporting our people grow in positive ways, you know. That makes me proud. Like, even if I don't know them, I'm like, man, he's doing good stuff. Like, you know, because it's contagious. The energy is contagious. If you're reading it, if you're watching it, whatever, it resonates with me when I see our people doing well, and it just makes me proud. And I'm like, yo, okay, what can I do? What can I do now to continue this? Because like we said before, the more we see our people in spaces that we're unfamiliar with, the more encouraging for, you know, the next generation. Like, man, I can do that. Give it a try. Just give it a try. If you fail, you fail, but you'll grow from the failure. We need to stop looking at it as like, you failed, that's it, you're gone. Like, we need to look at it, we failed, okay, what can we learn from this? What can we take out of it to become a better person? The next time it comes around, boom, we got it. You know what I mean?
How about you? How about your growth from where you started?
From where, bro? I'm a totally different man. Like, it's funny. Like, we talk about it all the time. I with some of my schoolboys that I went to Massey with, like, I used to have a bad temper, bro. And I always used to get sent off in games. Not always sent off in games, but I always used to carry like a lot of anger just through like growing up and like through like being bullied from family, like my family members being bullied, and then school not being not having that connection because I've lost my Samoa. Like, I used to carry that into games, and if you try to take the ball off, if you hurt one of my loyalties to my team, bro, I'm gonna get you. Like, if you got the ball, you got the ball. If not, then that's your problem, not mine. Like, like. And so we used to talk about it, and they said, "So remember how what we were talking about?" I think one of the boys messaged me. Oh, he messaged me with what we just talked about. He goes, "Sorry, but I posted something about Toa Samoan. He goes, "Sorry, but remember when you can't fight Samoa properly?" And then I was like, I was just messaging him, but have you played for Samoa? And then like, he goes, but did you stay on the field long enough? Like, like just that banter like that. And then I was like, "Sorry, that's fine, man." But like the growth that I've had from there, like to now, like, I'm not going to say I'm a totally different person, because I've still got the values that my grandparents instilled in me. Be a good person, treat others the way you want to be treated, like look after, like just that caring nature that we have naturally for people. I've still got that, but the growth for me is, being a Muslim, like understanding there's more to life than just trying to please other people. Like, live a certain way, live a life of gratitude, and growing, trying to inspire the next generation. Like that's my growth. That's my the path that I've taken, and I like inspiring, like doing stuff like this, like how you're doing your podcast, and like, a lot of people say, "How's business? How's your business?" It's not really a business I don't see it as a business. That's just my way of giving back in a positive manner for our community, using a different means to having a beer to talk about mental health, or like doing things that I like. Yeah, if it works for you, it works for you. That's good. But for me, it doesn't work. So I've got to try and find different ways of doing that stuff. So yeah, that's probably my growth. Yeah, the growth that I've had in it, bro. And I just, it is what it is, bro. I'm at a stage now I don't care what people think about me. Like, silly. It's up to you, bro. Like, I'm just me now. Like, but I'm here to help. Like, I've always still kept that helping aspect, or like that close to my heart. Like, and I think that's just all Polynesians in general. Like, we always just want to help, but some of us want to help with bad intentions. Like, I just try to keep my intentions pure, bro. Like, I just love everyone. If you need help, I'll help you. But that's.
What are your thoughts on the kids, on the next generation, the kids over here, like and growing up? Like, there's this thing that always gets talked about. It's the tall poppy syndrome. And you can't really celebrate your wins these days because you have to be humble. But I think that's I don't get the, okay, we want to be humble, but also want to celebrate. That's two conflicting
things. I think
is it the way you celebrate? Is that what humble means?
Have you seen that Eliota's Sapulu's
The latest video?
Yeah, the one about losers telling winners how to celebrate. Yeah.
I didn't see it all, but I saw the start of it.
That's bro. He's the man. So if I ever get to meet that guy, bro, I'd just love to sit and have a coffee, bro. Because he's real. Like, he's a realist. But I think that's like, there's no, like, everyone that gets salty are the losers. Like, winners, just let them, like. And saying that, I'll probably look at myself and be humble, But I guess it's just, like you said, it's conflicting. Who are we to tell the kids they can't celebrate when they've just worked their bums off to achieve whatever it is that they've wanted to achieve? Like, celebrate, man.
I mean, if you celebrate to inspire others, that's good, eh?
Yeah. But
if you're too humble about it, you won't inspire no one, right?
Yeah, because no one will want to be like a...
Yeah, no one will see it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's conflict, eh?
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. There's a conflict.
There must be a way of doing it properly. That's what they're trying to. I think that's what I'm thinking they're trying to say.
Just celebrate.
There's a way to celebrate and a way to be humble.
They're two different things. Like humble, like
Yeah. And I get confused.
if you celebrate a win, like bro, celebrate. Like
Yeah.
what's a humble like?
Because that's where they go to when they chop you down. Be humble, man. Like,
Yeah.
what do you want to be like that for?
But they've just taken away.
But they didn't win.
Yeah.
So that's what
I mean. Like it's always the
And
losers.
that's what
that
Elotto was saying. Yeah.
yeah, they're trying to say like the losing team or the losers are trying to, tell winners how to celebrate. Like, man, nah, I think my kids. I can only speak to my kids. I think they know enough about when to be humble. But I also try and tell them to celebrate. It's like, just say like celebrate, man. Like, you've worked hard to achieve what it is that you wanted to achieve.
Because I had this conversation with a mate of mine. He's assistant coach for Avondale First 15, Avondale College.
Yeah.
And he's talking about how he's not used to the kids because he was brought up he's Samoan, half Samoan, but he's brought up in Australia, and he's been to America and been there too, and now he's at Avondale College. He was talking about how he can't get over how the kids they don't go hard.
Yeah.
They're always like holding back.
How old are these kids?
What's sixth form?
So sixth form, seventh form, so 17, 18,
Yeah.
16, 17. Do you think this could be going off topic, but our generation, we were brought up by playing outside.
Yeah.
Everything we do is outside. We didn't have video games. Well, there was video games around, but so I never had video games.
Yeah.
I was never allowed to watch TV, so all my time was spent outside. Whereas like these guys that are coming through, like
Inside.
a lot, like so then internet, like
Yeah.
like devices, like they're always in front of, like even at school, like it's crazy. I was talking to someone about it too. Like this is going off topic, but it was the same thing. What the next generation of athlete will look like, because the skill levels, like some of the skill levels at school, there's a few that have it, and the rest don't. But that was like, I remember growing up at school, like everyone was talented. Like everyone could play footy, everyone could play basketball, but there's only a selected few now. And I always want to take it, like look at it like, oh man, I wonder if it's devices that have,
Well, do you think it's a system? Because, back in our days, when we had a lot of talent, was it because the system tried to cultivate that talent and told us to play hard? Because, the selective few now these days, I think that's the way it is now. The selective few, it's hard to be competitive, I think. And they don't teach the competitiveness anymore.
Yeah.
Sort of thing. Because the first thing that came to mind was when they scrapped the first 15 secondary schools of Sky TV. Because one of the excuses I heard was because when the kid drops the ball, he's on national TV. How is he gonna? I was like, what?
Yeah, that's a hard one. That's a double-edged sword.
Isn't that a game? Like you're supposed to. Aren't you supposed to come back from some mistakes from that?
But that's what I'm talking about, devices. Because nowadays we'll drop the ball and there's no one there to be like, this guy's Gaia. He just dropped the ball, Yeah. But now, like, they're talking about being on TV, but they've also got like phones. Some of these kids, the wealthy kids, or even, they've got access to phones, so they're forever posting like, and that shame factor there, and that's where a lot of the mental health issues are coming from. Is these kids are getting bullied, like cyberbullying. That's another thing, like bullied for dropping a ball. But it's not only on TV; it's going to be all over social media because everyone knows screen recording now. So if you're watching the game, screen record, and it's not going to go away. We're still in our times, like we never had. If you drop the ball, like, cool. The only person that's going to care about that is your dad. Get in the car and get hiding. Like, now it's every Tom, Dick, and Harry that has access to a device or a mobile phone can replay that, make memes off it, and none.
And those are good points. In New Zealand, good thing about my friend, because he's been to America.
Yeah.
So he's been telling me what it's like over there.
It's crazy over there.
There's no such thing as tall poppy syndrome.
Oh,
they don't know what it means.
Oh.
And the kids, they play hard, like
That's because
anything. And it's like I don't know if you know American sports.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
hard out extreme, man.
Yeah.
Even with their media,
Yeah.
like they put players down. And
Yeah.
it's hard to.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's just their sports culture over there. They're like they're so extreme. Like they cultivate all that. They know they support all that kind of stuff. Like over here, we try to help all the time. And I don't know if it's like participation awards and all that kind of stuff, but
Yeah, you could be right.
America is so competitive. It's like if you're not good enough, you're out. Like there's no excuse.
But they're also really good individual athletes too, eh? So they push. Yeah, I know what you mean.
It's like a different
mentality.
Different culture over there. And I don't know if that's if you're into American sports. If I don't know if that's if you want to bring that culture here in New Zealand.
Yeah.
I don't know if that will do any good or if that will even happen. Because when I remember when the Blues played the Crusaders and they're doing those. I think how Rico scored the try and he folded his arms.
Oh yeah,
and then
Severus
did the same thing. Like that kind of thing.
The banter.
Like it was looked down upon over here.
Yeah,
that kind of stuff. It's like, why wouldn't do that for? Like, be humble. Oh, there you go. Be humble again.
Humble.
But America, they all did that all
they
the time.
do it all the time. Yeah.
It's like a competitive thing. It's like it helps them play better, sort of thing. And it makes the crowd go wild, like because they need that sort of thing to happen. They don't want
that sells. That puts bums on seats.
Yeah,
that stuff puts bums on seats and
exactly.
sells. Yeah.
So I think that's part of the American culture of doing all that kind of stuff that we're not probably used to. But then All Blacks just made that deal with the Silver Lake, that American company.
I don't know too much about that, but
I don't know if they're trying to go that way. And I saw Adi Severe and he did an article about how rugby in New Zealand should be events rather than just going to a game. Like he was calling for the tailgating at the stadium. And
how cool would that be?
Oh, that'd be cool. It'd be good for the game. Or help support the game in terms of like people getting into the team. Like, can you imagine if Eden Park did a 2-hour pre-game? You can pull up to the car park and have a barbecue, have some beers, and, fun things that people can go and just enjoy.
Yeah, that'll be mean.
Part of the team.
Yeah, that'll be mean. I miss that. I remember he did say stuff about that, but I miss reading that article. He's a good leader for our people in the space.
It's disappointing. Didn't make the top. Hey,
again, who? What's the selection criteria? Who's on the selection panel? Bro, hands down, bro. Like, silly. But that I'm lucky enough to meet Adi and have done some stuff with him over the last couple of years. But he's
I think he's following the sort of American kind of way, because the things he talked about, like he talked about like tailgating the events, which America does. Because you know how they went. Because that's right, they were never to play over there.
Yeah.
And he was. I think he just learnt from how they do it over there. He's bringing it back, but he's also using social media in the same kind of way. That even the Australian NRL players use social media like that, but the Americans use social media.
That's his point of difference, because he's with Rock Nation Sports.
Yeah.
So he signed with that American marketing company, but
so who else is on that? Who's
I can't remember.
NBA players,
there's NBA players, NFL players, but there's only a few. I know it's him and there's a Mario Itoje from England, English lock. So they're probably the only two rugby players. But that's where he's like. That's what I mean with seeing people that look like you that you can resonate with. Like I love what he does in the space, and he's not shy to be vocal about things that he's passionate about. He's another one to be proud of.
Social media stuff, because that's I think that's a thing that we should all the players should do anyway.
It's good to see them on social. Like some of them on social, you can gauge who's being genuine. You know, he's one of them.
Yeah.
Like some people are just like robots, and I'm sponsored by this, so I need to post this. Like, bro, get creative, you know. But Artie's creative, bro. He wants you to engage with what he posts, and it makes you wanna, wonder what he's up to next. Like, you know, there's some, I'm not gonna name any, but some players are just like the old. Oh, we know you're sponsored by that, bro. Get creative, like.
Well, he's got his own line, so he's
got his own line,
so
yeah, which is mean.
But just using that, and he had his podcast, remember?
Yeah,
he was doing his podcast for a little bit. So yeah, just using all those avenues, using those, because I liked what he said when he didn't like how the New Zealand media portrayed the players, and the players have to be like media trained with.
If you like just touching on that too, so remember how he came out and started announcing his own contract deals.
Oh, yeah.
He did it for his own channel. Like Nani Lamapi's another one. See, that's mean, because then now the media don't have the narrative on it.
Yeah.
So they own it. So they can they can come across however it is that they want to. And that's what's so unique about what Artie, and even Nani to a certain extent too, is starting to, when they announce their signings, there's no narrative from the media or like, so they're always trying to take a strong hold on like, we need to be the first. We need to, I'm saying it how I want to say it.
Saying it on the podcast,
and I'll deliver, and I'll deliver it how I want to deliver it.
Yeah.
There's not a script to say, okay, can you post this at this time and tell everyone that? Like, I'll do it how I want to do it. That's mean.
Because that's the thing rap players are doing. They're going on podcasts and saying they might drop a hint, and other teams will will listen and read it like, oh man, I think he's gonna leave. We better chuck him some money.
Look, we've put some money aside and grabbed this guy.
Yeah. So you're right. The media's they're not going to the media now. You know, they're doing their own, making their own.
But they're not going because of what you were just saying before. Like, there's always a negative spin on what they, and they only take a certain. So say we've spoken now for an hour, they'll take 2 minutes, and it'll be the worst 2 minutes that we've spoken about, you know, and then we're like, and then people are just like, so that's what that guy's like, right? But they've missed the whole hour, you know, like of what's been spoken about, and that's you bringing it up just reminded me, like, that guy's those guys are taking a stronghold and presenting news the way they want to tell their fans, because at the end of the day, like, it's just engaging with their fans, not like through the media and then the fans. It's directly to the fans, which is cool. And
the other way you see it is when you read the article and they said, oh, he said this on this podcast. You know, they didn't get the information from him. They got it from a podcast. So it's like, you know, it's working. You know, they've taken the power sort of away from the media. The media has to like listen to podcasts now to see get the info now. You know, and that's why I love this podcast platform. You know, because anyone can do it. Yeah, and I love that anyone can do it. You know, and it's not radio, it's not TV, and it's if there's a podcast that's like a conversation. I mean, you get your podcast that's you know, they just do certain topics. You know, so. And it's only like half an hour, so it's like blah, 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 blah. Yeah. But with this one, I like to think, you know, it's just a conversation. I don't know where it's going to go. Yeah. I don't have a script. You know, I just invite people to come talk.
We'll just talk and see what happens.
Yeah, we'll see. Talk and see what happens. We might end up somewhere we probably didn't think we'll end up. You know, and those are the best ones for me. You know, the best ones for me is when I just start with a random topic and an hour later
we're talking about something else.
We haven't even gone to where we wanted to talk, why that person was here in the first place. Thing, you know, so. And plus, it's good that, you know, anyone can do it. That's what I love about it. Anyone can do it. Anyone's got a point of view. Yeah. And we need more out there. You know, we need more Pacifica ones out there. You know, there's a lot of mental health ones out there, which is good because we need it, you know. But we need more. Yeah. Know? There's a lot of stories out there.
They need to be told.
We need to be told, and people can relate to, because it doesn't matter how small, how big the story is. Someone's going to be relating to it. Yeah. You know?
100%.
I mean, if I say one now, like, I remember one anxiety I had back in the days was when I show up somewhere to an event. Yeah. And, you know, I'm not comfortable talking to people in this event,
Mm.
so I just go home.
Yeah.
I'll actually go park up and then change my mind and drive away and go home. You know.
Yeah, I know that, bro. I can relate to that too, 100%.
I've done that a couple of times.
Yeah.
But see, I might think that's small, but no, someone might have a worse case of that.
Yeah.
And
I get like that sometimes, bro. Like, I'll get invited to places and I need to apologize to my wife because I always say, oh, no, the boys will be like, oh, so you're still coming? I'm like, nah, I got to do some stuff for my wife. My wife is like, she doesn't care because she knows. But like, I sometimes get social anxiety like that. Like, sometimes I just can't be around people.
Yeah.
Like, I just get so anxious. Like, I don't know what it is. And so, like, I'm known for that too. Like, people get like, oh, so come to blah, blah, blah. I'm like, yeah, I'll be there. And so they still coming. I was like, oh, nah, it's like the kids or my wife. Like, but it's just that anxiety of just being around and not unfamiliar places, but places that I don't want to be. I want to see the people, but I just don't want to be in the place, or like vice versa. Like, I don't know.
Oh, you're better than me because I actually say yes, I'm coming, and I'll show up and I'll leave.
Or at least you go to Lizzie, but I won't even turn up. But I was telling my wife, because I've got a birthday that I need to go to on the weekend, and the boys' missus is like, I go, happy birthday, we'll catch up on the weekend. And then I got the text back, was like, is this one of those you're gonna tell us that your wife needs you to do something? And I just laughed. I go, silly, I'll be there. You're lucky it doesn't clash with the Toa Samoa game.
So see, for me, thinking about that to me, that's a stupid reason to be.
It could be stupid to something, but it's a real thing. You know what I mean?
Another stupid thing, if I think about it, being at a bar and not having a drink in my hand. And like, you have to. Or, you ran out of beer. You ran out of beer and you got to buy one.
Yeah.
And that moment between then and when you get another beer, I've got anxiety.
Why? Because of the fear of being judged by someone. Like, just because standing there looking.
Yeah.
And he's got he's got an empty glass.
Yeah,
or
empty glass. Or can't afford a drink. That kind of stuff. Like, that plays around with you.
Yeah. See, it's real, Luce. It's a real thing. Yeah. Everyone will, like, there'll be similar situations, but it'll be different. Like, you know what I mean? I'm glad I'm not the only one. Oh, I know I'm not the only one, but, the more we can try and normalize these conversations, the more, someone asks me, so I'm the same. Like, yeah. I just called myself out. So sorry if you always ask me to come places and I say, yeah, and then at the last minute say, nah. There's some anxiety going on there. I don't know what it is, but, yeah.
So, man, before we wrap up, I just want to say, like, thanks for coming, man. Thanks for coming, Rob. And what think the score's gonna be on Sunday?
Ooh, what do you reckon, son? 44. You tell me what your score is, then.
24-12.
24-12 to Samoa. 24-12. Yeah, I'd probably say
22.
24-22.
It's gonna be
18-10.
18 or 18-26.
Nah, you already said yours. Just so this guy's the biggest Panthers fan. So if you ask him who's going to score the first try, who's going to score the first try? Bizarre.
It's going to be low score, because
I think it'll be low.
Both semi-finals were low scores, though.
Yeah.
Oh,
I think, yeah.
26.
Well, the Samoan England one was like 27, 26. But the Kiwis one was,
against Australia, so...
Yeah, now I'm going to go 18-10. So what have you got?
I think 18-22. Samoa.
First try scorer.
I think it's going to be... I think it's going to be Loy.
Oh, dummy on the inside again. I'm going to pick... yeah, I want to say Soli'i, but...
I haven't seen him score a try.
He's going to score a try against Tedesco. He's going to run over him.
Ooh, that's a good matchup, man. laugh whoever wins the game was going to be the starting
Fullback for the
fullback for
Roosters. Nah, yeah, I'm gonna pick that. I'm gonna pick Suoli'i. Suoli'i to be the first try scorer.
That's not bad. That's not bad.
Yeah.
You know, I watched Stephen Crichton's post game
Yeah.
interview. Did you watch that one?
Nah, I didn't. Sorry, because when we, I don't know if it was England's doing, but so as soon as the game finished, like we didn't get to watch any of the. Oh, our Spark Sport cut off.
Oh, really? Oh, true. He did the one after, like a couple of days after.
Nah, I haven't seen.
Yeah.
Is it the one? Was that Radio Samoa? The one he did?
Yeah, yeah,
Oh, nah,
that
I've
one.
seen it coming, but I haven't seen
Oh,
it. Yeah.
That was an interesting one because they asked him about the, and I knew it, but I didn't really think about it. If Samoa becomes a tier 1 nation after this
Yeah.
World Cup, that's gonna put things in perspective with them joining
The
New South Wales.
New South Wales
you
and
know?
that, yeah.
Because if they still have their rule, then they have to choose.
Yeah, true. Well, so, what? How do you become a tier 1 nation? You've got to win. So, if they win the World Cup, do they become a tier 1 nation?
They have to be. Have to be, right?
So, does that mean that they get tier 1 resources?
True that.
Because that'll change the game again, wouldn't it?
Well, what are the resources?
I mean, like, look at what New Zealand and Australia get. If you're a tier 1 nation, surely you're going to get paid the same as what they get paid.
But
And
is it
then
up
have
to the
actually-
unions? How rich the union?
I'm not too sure.
Or rich the club is? Or
Yeah.
what do they call it?
Well, no, it's not a franchise. Yeah.
They don't call it union.
Oh. No. Oh, yeah, I wouldn't have a clue.
Country.
Something like that.
Because because even that rule's dumb. Because New South Wales and Queensland ain't a country.
Yeah, true. But that's like how the All Blacks have the stronghold on, like you got to play in New Zealand to be an All Black.
Right, because that's their rule.
That's their rule, and then like Australia's the same. Like if you're gonna, I don't know, state of origin, you've got to be. I don't know.
Because they already broke their rule when Melbourne Nigga picked Adokar for Kangaroos. Are you supposed to play Origins, play Kangaroos?
No, I'm not
Yeah,
sure.
I didn't even know.
I didn't know that.
But yeah, that's my opinion about it. Anyway, like New South Wales and Queensland ain't a country.
In a country.
But it's Australian rule.
Yeah.
It's their rule.
Yeah. That'll change the origin landscape too. Then
Because if you think of it around, it's full of Polynesian players.
that's what I said at the start. Like what?
I mean, what are you gonna do?
60%,
Yeah, what are you gonna do when it's gonna be 90%?
and it's only gonna grow too. It's only gonna grow like what? A couple of years ago it was 40, and then I remember Sonny said in his book it's like 50, heading into 60. So like it's only, you're right. It will at one stage might not be 90, but it'll definitely grow up there.
So they will have to evolve their rules. Or yeah.
So they're just salty because like just let someone else win, bro. Like let us have our time. Don't worry about origin. Like see, they're just worrying about what's gonna happen. What if silly, it's gonna happen sooner or later. If it's not Samoa now, it'll be Tonga or Fiji. Like it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. And Tonga already proved it. They've been in Australia, but Samoa's in the World Cup final.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, so nah.
So what's happening next few weeks for you?
Next few weeks we're just trying to wrap up at school, get the school year finished. We've got a new BALLSY range dropping, so we'll drop it. I think we're meant to drop it tonight, but we've got a few things that we need to sort out, so it'll be dropping tomorrow. So jump on the website www.ballsy.nz or jump on our Instagram account ballsy, and just follow us. But even if you don't purchase anything, like it doesn't, there's no skin off my nose. It's just more so for us getting the message out there. So if it resonates with you, give us a follow. And like we've said throughout the podcast today, we're always there to try and encourage and inspire our people to be better and be great, because we need more of it, especially to help our next generation. So,
Charles, like what you've taught me tonight, you might not think, but man, you just made me reflect on, what anxieties I did have in the past and how that made me feel, and then just don't just for me to make sure that it's something rather than nothing, because it is something, and just learn from it, you know. Like I know I always think about me back in the days being this guy that you know that can, you know, that thinks, oh, I'm not depressed or anything, you know, I don't believe in it and that kind of thing, because I don't understand it. That's why. But you know, it is real, and you know, you've made me reflect on all that, and the growth, and my own growth.
That's all.
I gotta celebrate those wins, man.
Don't be humble. Celebrate them, man.
All right, thanks, Uz.
Thank you, Uzo. Thank you for having me, and but I'm always down for coffee and breakfast.
Right, bye.
Bye.